everyone, I'm Becky,
Sarah.
and we're doing Bickering Book Reviews. Today we're talking about The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins, which we got off of NetGalley as an audiobook. So it was read by Emily Schaefer, Kirby Hayborn, and Lauren Fortgang. Which we're going to say because we listened to the audio arc.
So exciting. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I hope NetGalley gets more audiobooks because it makes my life easier.
It's exciting. We're mass audiobook consumers, and we
are
recommend them to people as well. So
we do. So this book, like I said, is by Rachel Hawkins, who usually writes YA, but this is an adult book, and it is like a modern Southern take on Jane Eyre. And so Jane is a early 20-something dog walker, and she's walking dogs in this very, very wealthy estate area. And she meets this man named Eddie Rochester. I don't know where I was going with that. I've read Jane Eyre. She's drawn to him, and she's kind of like, she's a different Jane. She's a manipulative, controlling Jane, which I kind of dug. I was like, yeah. And so Eddie's wife, Bea, owned this huge, like, empire catalog company, I think. They never really said if it was stores, but it was called Southern Manners, and they sold all sorts of kind of cutesy, like, Southern clothes and bric-a-bracs and whatnot. And it appears that she and her best friend died in a boating accident. And I feel like I can say this because the book is called The Wife Upstairs, but she's not dead. And so Jane gets involved with Eddie, and there's a whole, like, mystery around Bea, and there's some twists and turns.
Well, I mean, especially, like, if you're familiar with Jane Eyre, you kind of know the trajectory of the story. But to be fair, I didn't read the description before I started reading this book, so it took me a while to figure out that it was Jane Eyre. And I'm like, this is strange. That's Jane Eyre. Like, that's Jane name.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so in, like, 10 pages in, when Jane meets Mr. Rochester,
I mean, it made me pause and think, but, like, I didn't confirm it until much later in the book.
I read descriptions. Okay.
But I think that really speaks to the fact that she is a different Jane. Like, this Jane is, she's shysty.
Lifetime Jane. She's like,
she's shysty. He feels shysty, like, shystier than he does in, like, he doesn't feel shysty in Jane Eyre, but in this book, like, he feels exactly the way he should feel for having a wife in his attic. Like, I mean, come on. Like, well, in Jane Eyre, no. Like, he doesn't feel like a guy that would have a wife in his attic.
Right. No, because, like, so I really enjoyed this. And it is Jane Eyre, but the thing is, like, she did made it her own so much. Like, I'm reading to it, and it gets to a certain part, and I'm like, I wonder what's gonna happen. Like, I'm like,
right.
There were a couple twists that I'm like, I didn't see that coming. Right, but it's still Jane Eyre, but it's
like, Jane Eyre with the twist. It's right. Jane Eyre with a modern twist. Like, it really is. Like, you know what to expect, kind of.
Right.
She still kind of plays with all of that stuff, and, like, you're still left guessing. Even to the last few pages, like, this could technically have a sequel.
Right, it could.
I don't necessarily know if I need a sequel, but it could have one.
Like I said, like, there was, like, a couple big twists, and I'm like, oh, I didn't see that coming. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the setting. I enjoyed the backstory. I liked the audiobook readers. I thought they all did a really good job.
Yeah, they did.
It threw me because Jane is read by Emily, I believe it's Emily Schaefer, who read all of the Vampire Academy books and all the Bloodline books, which I loved. And it took me a minute because I'm like, but it's Sydney from Bloodlines reading me about Jane Eyre. But after a minute, I kind of got over it. But I like how the narrative voices changed, because there are 3 separate narrators, and so you do have the different voices, but they also have different, like, the way they speak is different. Like, Rachel Hawkins definitely wrote 3 very separate voices, which I appreciated.
And you can definitely feel it, yes.
I liked the culture of the wealthy South. My family's from Alabama, not that part of Alabama. We're from the poor part of Alabama. Um, we don't have estates. Um,
Yeah, I don't think I know anybody who would have an estate.
I don't know what else to say. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I
Yeah,
enjoyed the
it was
mystery.
perfect.
I liked the cover. If
Yeah,
you I think if you read it, you'll enjoy it. If you listen to the audiobook, it was done well. The twists and turns, the mystery. I didn't have it figured out. Like I knew what was going to happen, but I was still surprised by how we got there.
right. I agree. And I think you could give this to a teen, even though it's in the adult section. I think her teen readers they'd still be safe reading this.
I think it's a good Alex Award book.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't think I'd get angry parents with pitchforks if I gave this to their kid.
Well, and that's the thing because Jane has she moves in with Eddie and they have a relationship, but it's all happens very respectfully off the page. I guess there's a part with B and Eddie that's not as respectfully off the page.
I mean, it's definitely spicy, but I think older teens are okay.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say?
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna rate it. Our rating system starts at the top with 5 unicorns. We're gonna do 2 unicorns. If we don't like it, it's a horse.
So I feel like going into this, I was gonna go with 4 unicorns, but as we talk about it, and I can't really find any flaws in it, I'm gonna have to give it 5 unicorns.
Because that's where, yeah, I gave it a 4 on Goodreads, and I was solidly in the 4 camp. But discussing it with you, yeah, I think I'm at a 5. There's nothing I would change. The audiobook was well done. The mystery was good. I like retellings of classic novels, and I've read many of Jane Eyre, and I think this is one of the better ones.
Yeah, because it was just so different,
right?
That you weren't comparing the two as much,
right?
Yeah. And she built characters on her own. She had her own character development.
Right, because Jane was not just Jane.
Right.
She became her own Jane. We're going to just say Jane one more time. So that is where we are on The Wife Upstairs, and we'll see you around.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.